Anxiety of docking keeps too many boaters in port. There's so much to think about, it can be overwhelming, from the wind, the tide, to the speed, to the weather. All that impacts it, and you have to think about a lot all at once. To overcome this, people say you just need to practice. But how do you practice when you still need to get the experience? One way is to visualize and plan by watching videos like this. We're going to show 4 examples of coming to a dock and leaving a dock with some practical tips that you can adopt for your next outing. Echo Zulu Cruising is dedicated to helping boaters of all experience levels get smarter, be safer, and keep living the dream on the water. So join us for docking 4 times. It is a gorgeous day. We just ran to get fuel and are coming back, doing 4 dockings. We left the dock, we went to the fuel dock, we left the fuel dock, and now we're coming back to our home in Amelia Island Marina. I'm gonna dock this just using the throttles instead of the wheels. So we make sure the engines are straight. A lot of hate on the internet for using just throttles on an outboard, but it works just fine. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and the more ways you know to control your boat, the more options you have when things go awry or you're out on the water and want to do different things and control it differently. I worked on a dive boat in the Keys. That's where I learned most of my boating. That's where I was a dive boat captain, Sea Dwellers Dive Center in Key Largo. And with that boat, we always just docked with throttles. So it's my default because that's what I know. That's how I dock. I like to dock slow. There's no reason to go fast. I'm not showing off to anyone, and particularly in a marina. So we're coming in here, and if you have the port forward, your bow goes to starboard. If you have the port reverse, your stern goes to starboard. If you have your starboard forward, your bow goes to port. If you have your starboard in reverse, your stern goes to port. So I'm making a strong turn to starboard. My port engine is forward. My starboard is in reverse. And because you have more forward momentum, I put the port in neutral frequently as we're turning. We just do a slow turn. It's 290 degrees into our slips. It's an easy marina to dock in. It's really nicely protected from the waves. One of the key things in driving a boat is you want to stop turns before you where you want to be. In a car, you turn until you are where you want to be. On a boat, you stop turning before because momentum keeps moving. If there's wind, if there's tide, you need to understand how those are moving your boat. This is flat calm and frankly gorgeous. So port forward, I'm just trying to keep us from starting our turn too early. I want to get past this sailboat that you can't see because it's next to us. Bow is about 12 foot from where I want our boat to be. Port's reverse, starboard forward, starboard neutral, boat neutral, starboard forward, port reverse. There are people that can dock really fast. I just don't do that. I just want to come in nice and smooth rather than super fast. You can see we're coming into the dock. We want to make sure we end up next to the dock. There's a little wind that's pushing us that way, not a lot. So my stern was going in a little bit. I wanted to get that out. Coming in nice and straight. I'm hopping off the stern to get my stern line. We keep our stern line on the dock. Didn't have quite enough forward momentum. We have the stern line on the dock so that we can always know how far forward we need to go. If anyone wants that stern line's on, I don't have to worry about getting too far forward hitting the dock. We want the bow pretty close to the dock, unless there's a storm. That is docking 1 of 4. Next is leaving our marina to head offshore. Give an example of that. In the comments, let us know your docking tips. If you find the content useful, give us a like. And if you want even more information, subscribe to Echo Zulu Cruising for more boating knowledge. Leaving the dock. It is the first step to enjoying the boat. It's the last step of your boat check. So we've gone over all the systems on the boat. We're just leaving on a short fuel run, just showing how we're gonna leave the dock calm, cool, and collected. First thing we're gonna do is start the engines individually. We alternate. I'm gonna start with the port side today. Listen for anything. When we get off, we'll check to make sure the water's flowing. Now the starboard. Both engines have started. I want to turn the steering wheel just to make sure it's connected, see the engines move. So just turn the wheel to see that. And also, this is a tip from Captain Boomies. You guys want to put it in gear before you leave. Yeah, goes forward, goes back. So goes in and out of gear. We're gonna turn on the bow thruster, which we don't use that often, but we'll see if we need it. So you turn it on to make sure that it moves. So everything's set. We're gonna back out of our slip. Got the stern line off. We're in a really protected marina, so there's not a lot of wind. You always wanna be conscious of what the wind and weather's like. All the lines are off. Engines are straight. We're just gonna put it in reverse briefly. We do everything slow. It's really, don't go faster than you want to hit anything. So turn the wheel to port. It's going to move the aft to port in reverse. Just to get off the dock. I'm going to swing it all the way around to starboard. And this is going to bring our starboard in to swing our bow out. So the wheel's all the way over. Just put it in gear briefly, take it out, put it in gear briefly, take it out. The bow's starting to swing. Now I'm going to take it all the way over to port and just bump it in gear to get us forward momentum and move the bow a little bit. And one of the keys when moving a boat is it keeps moving after you steer. So you don't want to get your bow where you want to be before you straighten your wheel. So the bow's continuing to swing. Steer a little bit more to port. Bring the bow to port now because we're going forward. And straighten out the wheel to head out. Since I'm going to be going out to the port, I don't mind this kind of slow turn. I don't want to go too far past this boat that you cannot see on my port side because it gets shallow just past that. It is a shallow day. Depth finder is 5.7 feet. Getting away from the dock, really easy. Take your time, go slow, go in and out of gear. That was using the steering wheel. Sometimes I just use the engines. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat. When you're backing out or going into your slip, do you use the wheel or the engines predominantly? I prefer the engines, but today I just use the wheel. Coming up to the marina, we're gonna hail them. Quick tip of the day when it comes to using your VHF. Remember to put on high-low, you want to put it down on 1 watt so that you're not hailing everyone around when you're going to the marina. Turn down the power so that you're just talking to people of Fernandina Harbor Marina, Fernandina Harbor Marina, Fernandina Harbor Marina, sweetest thing.
Fernandina Harbor Marina, I can switch it to 8.
Sweetest thing, switching 6-8. And I have this program, so I know it's going to be 6-8. To preset a channel on a Garmin VHF prior to hailing, you're going to turn to the channel you want to end up at, which in this case is going to be 6-8. So you don't have to do this right when you're hailing. So get down to 6-8. And then the 16-9 button. Push that, you go back to 16. You hail on channel 16, and then you cycle through 9 to the channel you want. So you can preset and then hit the 16-9 button to cycle through. Starboard side 2, which is really easier for me. It's how I have everything set up. So I'm going to just throw out my fenders, have my lines ready for them to give me a hand. I'm going to turn on the bow thruster because we have it and go dock. Before we approach, we're in neutral as we ready the bow and stern lines for help from the dock hand, and we put the fenders over the side. Once we're close to the marina, we're assessing the wind on flags and evidence of current along the dock side, and we're going to approach here into a little tidal current with minimal wind. The slight current that is here come to our bow is going to help slow us, so we want enough momentum to carry us to the dock. On our final approach, to stop that momentum and move the stern in, we have the engines in neutral, turn the wheel fully to starboard, and then pull reverse to move that stern toward the dock and our bow away, taking off any momentum. Stick around for docking number 4. We're going to be leaving the fuel dock. If you want to learn about more than just docking a boat, check out our 5 easy steps for fueling a Jeanneau 1095. It's how we fuel the outboards on board. So you can check that out. Right now, we're just going to be using the current and taking advantage of the weather and the tide to get us off the dock. To leave after fueling, we start the engines. We don't check it in gear since they work getting us here. Then we untie, and since there's a little current, I'll untie the bow, leave the stern tied, and chat with people at the dock. Nah, I'm good. It's slack tied, it's almost too easy. You can laugh if I fall in, rip something off. With the shove to the bow and light current, our bow starts to swing out as I'm untying the stern line. And with this slight push off, that current does the work of giving us space from the dock. We're slack tied, which almost never happens. So I just gave a little push to the bow, untied the stern, and we're off. This example's last because it is the dream. The current does the work. We can pull away by just going forward, not worrying about the stern, always keeping an eye out for traffic. That's 4 times on and off the dock. I hate to admit making mistakes docking, but here's a video of me overcorrecting, not doing it right, so you can learn from my mistakes on how not to dock as opposed to these gorgeously executed docking and departures. Also, here's a playlist on what it's like to own a Jeanneau Mary Fisher 1095. In the comments, let us know what you learned about docking or your best tips for others. Until next time, be safe, get smarter, keep living the dream on the water.